And we're live! Welcome to Botha Rants. My name is Sophia Botha. Welcome to the stream where we go through all the latest LGBTQ and political news at a canter. Alright, Paris notice. As well as this stream, there might be a bonus video up on the channel either late tonight or tomorrow morning. I'm due to record something with a friend of mine about a subject dear to my heart, punk rock. Yes, a bit different from the usual political stuff. Well, punk rock was quite political, so we'll get into all that. Anyways, you know, particularly as this year is 30 years since Nirvana released Nevermind, which had a very profound effect on my life, and probably a profound effect on a lot of people's lives. It was one of those moments in cultural history. You knew where you were with the first time you ever heard "Smell Like Teen Spirit." Anyways, enough of that. We've got lots of stories to talk about today. Starting with somebody having a really bad day again in America. Yes, there's been another mass shooting, unfortunately. This time in Boulder, Colorado. There was a video. No, there isn't. Seriously. Let me just refresh the page, see what's happened. No, take it. Oh, hold. There is the video. Right, okay. So yeah, let's have a listen to the video.
This feels like the safest spot in America, and I just nearly got killed for getting a soda.
Suspect in the building. This is the Boulder Police Department. The entire building is surrounded. I need you to surrender now.
At first I heard like a loud bang, so I kind of thought like a shelf fell over or something like that. But then immediately when I heard multiple gunshots, I knew that it was something more than that.
I didn't see a shooter. I just saw terrified faces running towards me, and that's when I turned and ran in the other direction.
And I immediately sprinted over to her and was like, hey, we gotta get out of here, and like pushed open the emergency door, and I like told her to run.
My heart goes out to the victims of this incident, and I'm grateful for the police officers that responded, and I am so sorry about the loss of Officer Tally.
So, now the guy who carried this out is a guy called Alois Lashe, is that right? He was 21 years old. Now, normally, when mass shootings happen, you hear from Alex Jones, you know, this is a false flag. There's a prelude to take our guns away. Or, in other words, he's scared that he's not going to be able to stroke an AR-15 to get it up. Yeah, he, you know, but basically, you know, you listen to fucking Alex Jones go on about the fucking Second Amendment, you just think gun sexual. However, I have checked InfoWars. Now, I know some people say, why don't I show pages from InfoWars? Do I really want to show a website which basically espouses, you know, anti-Semitic conspiracy theories? No, not really. I mean, that is the whole MO with fucking Alex Jones and, you know, spouting the New World Order, which is derived from the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, which is one of the most infamous anti-Semitic diatribes there's ever been, alleging that all us Jews control the world economy. But anyways, Jones has a real hard-on for the Second Amendment. We know this. And usually, as I said, he bangs on about, you know, this, you know, it's a, you know, these mass shootings are false flag, you know, to take you know, people's guns away, blah de blah de blah. However, this time, no. When I checked InfoWars, it was more about this guy's an Islamic terrorist. Now, just because this guy's got brown skin and has somewhat of a Islamic sounding name does not mean he's an Islamic fucking terrorist or some Islamic fundamentalist. It doesn't mean that at fucking all. We you know, I don't think, you know, most of these shootings, anybody realizes why these people carry out. They just break. You know, I mean, I've always said that if America had a better fucking healthcare and welfare system, you know, there would be less mass shootings. But hey, no one wants to listen to my common sense. Even though, you know, you just have to look across the border in Canada, you know, where gun ownership is just as high as it is in the United States, but there's far less, you know, spree shootings. Why? Because they have a welfare state and they have a decent healthcare system. Blah de blah de blah. Anyways. So, Jones is pushing the fact, you know, well, he is a racist dick, isn't he? So he would be pushing the racist agenda. The weird thing is, though, Jones actually never showed much interest in Islamic terror, fundamentalism, or political Islam, as you might call it, before Donald Trump came on the scene. Now, seriously, I know some people would be surprised to hear that, but from what I remember of Jones, despite the fact that, you know, the greatest threat to Western civilization, according to the far right, was Islam, you know, particularly since 9/11, Jones wasn't really interested. You know, that was, you know, it was always, you know, basically he was always trying to blame the Jews, wasn't he? But now he jumped on the Islamophobic bandwagon when basically Trump threw his hat in the ring. In other words, he saw dollar signs in it. That's basically Jones's, stick. You know, if there's money in it, he'll do it. All right. Anyways, meanwhile, over in the UK, today marks the first anniversary of the first lockdown, and there has been a moment of silence to mark all the deaths, the COVID deaths. But one thing I will add is that we're coming on to Nigel Farage and Keir Starmer. Well, Nigel Farage has been campaigning against lockdowns. Yeah, that's really helpful, Nigel. And Keir Starmer, well, he's offered no opposition to the fact that tens of thousands of COVID deaths needn't have happened, and only happened because of Tory corruption, shall we say. Keir Starmer is badly letting down this country. Seriously, I mean, this guy's into flag shagging. Well, maybe the most patriotic thing he can do is actually offer a fucking opposition to all the Tory bullshit which is going on, which is killing people. Yeah. Now, I was talking about. Hold on. I need to swap some stuff around. I got that in the wrong order. Right. Oh yeah. Oh no. Actually, no, I haven't. Sorry. So yeah. I mean, look. All the vast majority of people do support NHS workers. Okay. So this is essentially an exception that an NHS worker has metal plates inserted in her face after being punched for challenging a man without a mask on a tube. Yeah. However, I have friends who do work for the NHS, and they have said that there are people, for instance, who nick their parking permits and abuse them for, supposedly getting privileges. For instance, some supermarkets had those those special hours before they fully opened up for NHS workers to buy groceries, and there are people who've been trying to abuse that. Look, there are people who will do that, but the thing is, right? This is going on, and it does need to be highlighted because even if it's a small minority of people who are abusing NHS workers, it's still wrong. It really is. These people are putting their lives on the fucking line to save people. How many fucking NHS workers have died because of COVID? And you have fucking Nigel Farage. Lockdown is Orwellian tyranny. No, lockdown is a means of people trying, being considerate to one another and not spreading preventing the spread of fucking COVID. Wanker. Anyways, Nigel Farage has been stoking up racial hate. Well, there's a surprise. Post the Bristol the riots in Bristol at the Kill the Bill rally on Sunday or Saturday, was it? But he's not the only one. A Tory council candidate has been condemned after tweeting "Just bomb Bristol."
Tory council candidate condemned after tweeting "Just bomb Bristol."
A Conservative candidate for Eastbourne Council had to apologise after tweeting "Just bomb Bristol" in response to the weekend's protests. Stephen Hall-Cuba was widely criticised for his response to the videos of police in Bristol clashing with the demonstrators as they protested the government's policing bill. Junior tweeted, "Hi prospective Conservatives councillor at Shell Cuba, you appear to have deleted your tweet about bombing Bristol. It's okay, we've got the screenshot for you. You're welcome. Good luck in the election." Immediate backlash. Several Twitter users asked the Conservatives whether Hall-Cuba was the sort of person they wanted representing them. Hall-Cuba is running for the St Anthony's ward in Eastbourne. Hello at Conservatives. Not sure this is the sort of person who should really aspire towards public service. Calling for an entire city be bombed, What a delightful human being Stephen is not pic.twitter.com/smike5pd. Andrew Quinn, at Andrew Quinn, March 22nd, 2021. Greg Herriot tweeted, "Is this normal for Conservatives councillor candidates calling for Bristol to be bombed? Is that normal?" At Shell Puber.
See, and this is just the Tories with the mask off, isn't it? They don't care. In fact, no one seems to actually care about why maybe there was a riot. You know, why, you know, what were protesters angry about? Of course, Nigel Farage has taken the opportunity, as I've said, to whip up race hate. Well, you know, by this tweet, in tonight, in Bristol tonight, we see what a soft-headed approach to the anti-police BLM leads to. Now, this was not at all a Black Lives Matter protest. And he's using, you know, he's smearing Black Lives Matter because, well, Nigel Farage is a white fucking supremacist. And, you know, Nigel Farage represents the white man. Yeah, because he is a white, privileged man. You know? Yeah, I mean, we all know Nigel Farage is a pompous racist twat, you know, who believes England is a country where women cycle to evening song on a warm summer's evening, and warm beer, and village on the cricket green, and jam, roly-poly for tea, and none of that metric measurement nonsense. That's not a country which has ever existed, nor will ever fucking exist. And this is, you know, the lie that people buy into with Nigel. You know, so wake up everyone. This is not about racial justice. Well, actually, Nigel, they were protesting against the very draconian authoritarian police bill. You know, you complain about the state being Orwellian because you can't call black people the N-word. Well, you know, they're basically protesting, but they won't have the right to fucking protest. You know, against anything. You know, and as I explained, if anybody watched last night's show, this will affect disabled people protesting. You know, the fact that the Tories, you know, want to kill them to pay for, you know, bankers getting tax cuts. So these people want all-out anarchy and street violence. Well, no. You know, the thing is, again, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to keep stressing this. Nobody has actually asked, right, why they were angry. Now, obviously, as I said, the protest itself was about the kill the bill. It was about, you know, the opposition to the Priti Patel and the Tories policing bill, which, as I've said, is draconian. But obviously there are other issues, and you know, the thing is, I've said that essentially people were probably rioting because there's no opposition to this fashion, the fact that this country is, you know, falling, you know, into fucking fascism, right? I mean, look, you know, Nigel Farage is using this to basically push his fucking white supremacist, racist fucking agenda. And I mean, it's not the first time he has smeared Black Lives Matter. I mean, you know, I saw him on, might have been Good Morning Britain or one of the sort of morning magazine programs being interviewed. And he goes, yeah, I agree with racial equality, but Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organisation. Now, you know, Marxism, of course, he thinks is the bogey word. Well, here's the thing. What people don't realise is when Nigel Farage says Marxism, it's actually a dog whistle. It's an anti-Semitic dog whistle. He's referring to cultural Marxism, which is this conspiracy theory about there was a Jewish intellectuals who escaped from Nazi Germany, came to Britain and the United States, particularly you know, this is cultural Marxism conspiracy is big in the United States, and basically to subvert society away from traditional values. You know, you know, things like supporting LGBTQ rights and women's right, promoting women having the right, the reproduction rights, which they should automatically fucking have anyways. He basically wants to roll this back to a type to some mythical 1950s, which didn't happen, but certainly wasn't good for if you were LGBTQ, if you weren't white, if you weren't essentially a white cis-normative heteronormative fucking man. He doesn't like the idea that other people than white heteronormative cis-normative men with fucking privilege should have equality. That's the whole deal here, okay? He's a racist dick. Now, really, smearing Black Lives Matter and essentially being a racist dick, you'd think would have some pushback from Labour. No. Here's Keir Starmer on the Bristol riots. Hold on. Sorry. Technical. No. Sorry, I forgot I muted it.
That we've actually just witnessed on one of the monitors here in the studio play out in Bristol. Horrific scenes. We've spoken to the Chief Constable. It's a total number of 12 officers have been injured, 2 of whom quite serious. A number of arrests already taken place. The Chief Constable is confident there will be more arrests through the course of the day. Sir Keir, respond to what you saw.
Well, looking at the images last night, looking at the images again this morning, inexcusable, completely unacceptable. And I hope that the perpetrators are identified and prosecuted where that's appropriate. I spoke to, I can see Marvin Rees on the screen. He's now. He's the Mayor of Bristol. I spoke to him early this morning, and he was expressing the anger that people in Bristol feel that this has happened in their city. You
see, the thing is, I'm not saying, right, that Keir Starmer or any other left-wing politician should condone what happened in Bristol. Certainly not. But they should try and understand, why, people, as I say, rioted. That's the point I'm trying to fucking make, right? Now, Jeremy Corbyn would have obviously condemned the violence, but he would have said that, would have tried to identify why people were so fucking frustrated and angry. Keir Starmer's none of it. Basically, all Keir Starmer's fucking interested in is a fucking focus group of Karens in Tunbridge fucking Wells. Yeah, not Labour's base support, which wants him to, campaign for equality and social justice. I mean, if you're looking to Keir Starmer to save us from fucking fascism, forget it. His answer seems to be joining in the fucking, downward spiral of fascism, not fucking opposing it, despite the fact that there is votes actually in opposing it. He's got to go. He's got to go. So his poll ratings are slumping again. He's got to go. He's got to go because he is just jumping on the fascist fucking bandwagon. He is. Yeah, the Labour Party are offering no fucking opposition to just about fucking everything. Sure, yeah, I know Labour did oppose the police bill, but that was only political opportunism. That was only Keir Starmer sticking his finger outside the fucking window and seeing which way the wind was blowing. Not actually taking a principled fucking stance. Anyways, there's more trouble for Labour. So the Labour MP for Hartlepool has stepped down, and so there's going to be a by-election. But there have been some shenanigans in the selection of the Labour's parliamentary prospective parliamentary candidate. Essentially, basically, central office. Now, sorry, I should add here. Normally, the constituency party will, select, shortlist and select a candidate to represent, the candidate they would like to represent their constituency if they get elected to Parliament. But No, Labour central officers basically rigged it. Anyways, this guy's got some pretty, and the guy the Labour the central office seemed to want to be Hartlepool's prospective parliamentary candidate has some pretty odious views.
Labour MPs fell apart live on TV defending Hartlepool chaos.
Members of Labour's shadow cabinet rallied to defend the situation with the Hartlepool by-election on Sunday the 21st of March. If there was ever a case of flogging a dead horse, this was it. Because despite a growing scandal over the party's candidate, senior Labour figures spent the morning firefighting live on TV. Hartlepool hits headlines. The Canary previously reported that there's a by-election coming up in Hartlepool. The previous Labour MP Mike Hill quit on the 16th of March. We wrote that Hill's resignation follows reports that he used taxpayers' money to fight a staff member's claim of unfair dismissal, sexual assault, and harassment. According to the Sunday Times, he claimed £2,000 on parliamentary expenses for the excess on his employment liability policy. So Labour needed a new candidate. Enter Dr. Paul Williams, ex-MP for Stockton South. But his candidacy has already been contentious. As Squawkbox reported, some of Williams' Twitter output has been dodgy to say the least. Tweets included talking about Tory MILFs, praising the Saudi Arabian regime, expressing pro-war and what could be seen as Islamophobic views, and as Squawkbox noted, Williams retweeted a call.
Well, he sounds. Yeah, I mean, he's not the candidate for which I would want. I would want to be representing Labour in Hartlepool, but obviously, he fits in well with Keir Starmer's new flag-shagging Labour Party. Keir Starmer's basically wanting to be the left-wing version of fucking Nigel Farage. I mean, fuck's sake. I mean, what makes me laugh about the Keir Starmer's flag-shagging thing is, let's just say that a lot of people are not fucking convinced. And maybe Keir Starmer should just think about fucking off and joining the fucking Brexit party and or UKIP. Anyways, so here's some of the clips of shadow cabinet members trying to defend his fucking balls up.
Labour have selected the former MP Paul Williams to fight the Hartlepool by-election. He was on an all-male, all-white shortlist of...
All-male, all-white? I thought Labour usually support diversity. They've had all-women shortlists in the past. And as for all-white, yeah... This is not the signals I would want the Labour Party to be sending out. But as I said, Keir Starmer thinks he's the Nigel Farage, the new Nigel Farage, doesn't he? Flag shagger and all.
One. In the Labour Party, is everyone a feminist until it doesn't suit them anymore?
Say that again. Sorry, I should say that again. Sorry.
In the Labour.
Yeah, he's a feminist when he wants to be. Yeah, typical guy.
The Party, is everyone a feminist as long as it suits you and then stops?
Well, we're still committed to all-women shortlists and improving the representation of women in Parliament. We've actually got more than 50%, I think, of women in the Parliamentary Labour Party because of all-women shortlists, and we're very proud of that, and we will continue to...
Well, if you're dedicated to all-women shortlists, why didn't you have one in fucking Hartlepool? Yeah, sorry, just a simple question.
Use all-women shortlists in parliamentary selections and future by-election selections.
Just not this one.
Well, I wasn't involved in this. I mean, I'm not on the Labour NEC who takes these decisions. I'm pretty busy dealing with our COVID response, to be honest. But we will use all-women shortlists in other parliamentary selections. I've got absolutely no doubt of that.
All right. Now, that was Jonathan Ashcroft. What's his name? Jonathan... I forgot what his name is. Jonathan Ashcroft, I think his name is. Now, here's Lisa Nandy. Let
me come to the Hartlepool by-election, the next big political moment in many ways for the Labour Party. Your candidate, Paul Williams, said in 2011 Do you have a favourite Tory MILF? Mind-blowing dinner table conversation to which your colleague, the ex-Shadow Attorney General, Shami Chakrabarti, said this: completely unacceptable, misogynistic abuse. We need to change that candidate immediately. Do you agree with Shami Chakrabarti?
Well, I absolutely agree with her that it is completely and utterly unacceptable. He was right to apologise, and if he hadn't apologised, frankly, we'd be having a very different conversation on this show this morning. I think it's really important that when we said as a Labour movement that this has to be a watershed moment after the murder of Sarah Everard and the outpouring from women across this country about what everyday sexism has done to our lives, that we prove it. Paul has apologised. He now has to go out and show that when we said this was a watershed moment, we're going to use it. He has a huge platform through the by-election to demonstrate that, and I am absolutely determined that we are going to do that.
So it's fine to be a misogynist as long as you apologise?
No, I don't think it's fine to be a misogynist at all, but I think you need to recognise, Andrew, that we're in a place where a lot of people have got this wrong in the past, but with everything that's happened in the last 2 weeks, that drumbeat of everyday sexism to which women across this country, including me, are forced to live our lives is no longer acceptable. He said he got it wrong, and now what I want to hear from him and from others who've made comments like this is that they're going to get this right in the future, particularly those people who have a public platform. They have to show that they are able to move this debate forward and increase women's safety. We've had appalling comments from many people over the last few years who are still in the public eye, including, as Priti Patel rightly said, the Prime Minister. And what I would say to him and to candidates in the Labour Party and to anyone else who makes comments like this is that this is no longer acceptable. We will not put up with it any longer.
Lisa Nandy, thank you for talking.
It's true. I mean, the sitting Labour MP needs to step down for the shit he has said and done. But the thing is, this is really none of this is good press. And as it says here, Labour's majority in Hartlepool was already slim at the 2019 general election. But the leadership seems to be learnt nothing. Because Williams is clearly pro-EU. I would imagine Hartlepool was one of those areas which voted for Brexit. Whereas Hartlepool voted by nearly 70% for Brexit. And with the Northern Independence Party looking a cause for concern for Labour, the party may have just handed the seat to the Tories before campaigning even begins. Yeah, it's not good. Really. It's another balls up, thanks to Keith Starling, basically. For now on, I'm going to call Keir Starmer Keith Starling. Anyways, of course, I could pick Eddie Izzard. Yeah, no, Eddie Izzard. She is basically. She says that she wants to become the first trans MP. Now, on the surface, you might think I'd be supportive. I would like to get some trans people into Parliament. It would be a good thing. However, Eddie Izzard's on the right of the Labour Party, essentially they're a Blairite, and also they need to learn fast, shall we say, since fully coming out, not to be defending fucking J.K. Rowling, who would at the very least wants fucking trans people to be treated second-class citizens and for us to be sitting on the back of the fucking bus. And probably would, very much like to fucking wipe us from the fucking face of the fucking planet, which is what most TERFs secretly want. And Eddie Izzard has been defending J.K. Rowling, and I'll just say, well, that's what privilege does, isn't it? You have all these fucking people like, John Cleese, and we'll get on to Ralph, There's another one that was coming up. Basically wealthy people who are who have some insulation from all the abuse that most of us trans people have to endure. And well, J.K. Rowling is a bigot, and is helping to basically just foment, transphobic hate, and that is can be seriously detrimental to trans people's lives. And yet Eddie Izzard, defends them. And wants to be an MP. What I'm basically saying is that if Eddie Izzard wants to be an MP, good on her. But I'm not going to be supporting them. Sorry, no. Not until they recant this bullshit and basically also apologise for helping to fund various campaigns which undermined Jeremy Corbyn. Who did speak up for trans people and has spoken out against J.K. Rowling and is a all-round principled socialist guy, and I do miss him. I do, as Labour leader. So yes, as I said, Ria is another white, privileged, cis-normative, heteronormative man defending J.K. Rowling. He can't understand. Well, he can't understand the vitriol towards Ralph Fiennes can't understand the vitriol towards J.K. Rowling. Well, as I said, you're a white, cis-normative, heteronormative man with fucking privilege. No, you can't. You're not going to be able to grasp it. You're not fucking trans, are you? And I don't know how many fucking trans people you actually know. Probably very few, if any. So So, yeah, no wonder you can't fucking understand it, Ralph, mate, as simple as fucking that, maybe you should, I don't know, talk to some trans people, that might be an idea, why is it that all these fucking, you get all these people, I mean, John Cleese, he rushes to the defense, of J.K. Rowling. But how many fucking, trans people has he actually spoken to? And I don't mean the wealthy trans people like Caitlyn Jenner, right? Or Kelly Maloney. What I'm talking about is, ordinary trans people like myself. The street level trans people who have to walk down the street and put up with fucking, abuse every time I walk past a fucking, Weatherspoons pub, with the fucking gammon outside, yeah. Sorry, it is upsetting. It is. Anyways, as I said last night, most people do support trans equality. Well, they survey after survey says they do. And I know some people say, well, when you just talked about you constantly getting hate. I don't get hate all the time, but I'll tell you, every time I do walk past a Weatherspoons pub and a fucking gammon sitting outside having a smoke, I will get abuse. It's just guaranteed. Anyways, so basically 70% of people in the United States support the Equality Act. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, the media in America is screwed to the right as it is here. So you're not going to hear this, okay? You're not going to, and that's why, basically, various media entities want and various other, shall we say, interests such as the Koch brothers want to push people like spouting transphobic hate as this is the norm in America, that it's trans people who are normal, but hate's normal. Basically the Republicans are trying to stop the Equality Act. And hypocritically so, I have to say. We'll get on to that. So, you know, but of course over here, it was over 70, I think it was like 72% of people in Britain supported, you know, trans self-ID. Yeah, of course the Tories booted that one, you know, shelved that one, didn't they? Yeah. So it's a similar situation in the United States, it seems. And as I've said, this is because certain interests don't want trans people to have equality. And I know this is going to sound absolutely ludicrous to some people, but this is a lot to do with basically it's marketing and it's othering. Now, what I mean by marketing is that essentially the marketing people, they're the people who sell you stuff, right? Or help to sell you stuff, and basically they want, you know, to cubbyhole people into certain demographics, right? Makes it easier, and of course trans people don't fit in, you know, certain demographics, those demographic groups, so it's harder to market to them, so it's harder to sell them shit. It's harder, you know, they basically, you know, marketeers want uniformed fucking consumers, okay, you know, who are basically brain dead. As for othering, well, essentially, you know, the reason why, you know, things are so fucked up is due to capitalism. But because various interests support the GOP, such as the Koch brothers and others, you know, there's plenty of other billionaires who donate, you know, to the Republican Party. They need, you know, to basically distract people from the fact that capitalism is fucking up their lives. So what do? They create a culture war against trans people as a means of diversion. Yeah. You know, it's no giant conspiracy, you know, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to work this bullshit out. You know, even though a majority of people do support. I mean, a majority of people in the United States support there being gun control. Yeah? That would be kind of helpful, considering, you know, this has been yet another fucking week where there's been 2 mass shootings. And for people in the UK, believe it or not, we don't get to hear about other mass shootings that go on. You know, it's you know, there's only a certain number we get to hear about. You know, basically, this is a daily fucking occurrence in the United States. The majority of people support gun control, but why isn't there, you know, why isn't there gun control? Right? You have to ask yourself that, right? Too many people buy into fucking far right narratives, not realizing that they're actually the one. That they're actually, you know, they think they're it's about them being free, when in fact, actually, it's just them, you know, perpetuating the fact that they're slaves. Right. So, the Equality Act. Christian conservatives are using Facebook to basically spin lies about it. So, several anti-LGBT plus and conservative groups are using Facebook adverts to spread misinformation about the Equality Act, which of course is being debated in the Senate currently. According to reports, non-profit organisation and media watchdog Media Matters reported that the Family Policy Alliance and the Billy Graham Evangelical Association ran paid Facebook adverts targeting the Equality Act. Right, hold on a second. Let me put the reader on.
Six of 8 ads are currently inactive, according to Media Matters, but are still accessible in the Facebook ad library. However, 2 adverts are still active. Media Matters said the adverts have a collective estimated potential to reach over 4 million Facebook users, spreading misinformation about the bill far and wide. Conservative religious group the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association ran 2 versions of an advert linking to a post on its website which claims the Equality Act will legislate that we allow boys in girls' sports, boys in girls' locker rooms, men in women's shelters, and men in women's prisons. One version of the advert was active at the time Media Matters published its research. Anti-abortion group Live Action posted an advert, which was active at the time the research was published, that calls the Equality Act an aggressive assault on human rights. The ad features a video that claims the legislation tries to erase gender and could end female-only spaces, like bathrooms, locker rooms, treatment centers, and sports. Family Policy Alliance, a national policy-focused anti-LGBT+ group, ran 4 versions of an ad encouraging people to ask lawmakers to oppose this dangerous bill. The adverts linked to a form to contact senators that claimed the Equality Act would sanction abortions, introduce explicit content in school curriculum, let boys win in girls' sports, pressure children toward experimental cross-sex hormones.
None of that is fucking true. Right, first of all, let's deal with the Christian bullshit, right? So, my normal spew is that, Christians will go that, some old crusty book called the Bible says LGBTQ people are bad, and they believe that this is the word of their mystical, non-existent sky daddy, thus, it's God's law. However, maybe, people should actually ask them, right, okay, you say the Bible says that LGBTQ people are bad. Well, where? What passage? Yeah. I bet none of them can fucking point to it, because none of them have fucking read the fucking Bible. In fact, I think more atheists have read the fucking Bible than fucking Christians. As for, danger to women, female-only spaces, trans women are women, right? There is not. Here's yet again the lie is that if you allow trans women into female-only spaces, then they will attack cisgendered women. No, there's fuck all evidence of that. However, there have been reports of cisgendered women attacking trans women in female-only spaces. Don't get to hear so much about that, do you? As I said, all this cultural bullshit it's a diversion. It's a diversion for the fact that capitalism is fucking up the world. Okay? Excuse me. And as I was, that's not very ladylike. Well, I'm a woman. Being a lady is something else. Obviously they're going to spread fucking lies, but the thing is that Facebook are letting them. I thought Facebook were going to get serious about fake news. Or was that just a lot of chatter because they were getting some bad PR, and in fact they were actually going to do fuck all? He thinks they're just that was just a load of chat, a load of hot air, bullshit, because they were getting a lot of PR, a bad PR. Yeah. And this could, as I said, do damage to trans people. The amount of stuff I read day after fucking day. It's not long before there is talk about spree killing, that someone targets some trans group. Seriously, I think that's unfortunately on the cards. But of course I'm being paranoid. I'm being melodramatic. Am I? Really? Yeah, we'll see. I hope not, but Anyways, Lindsey Graham says he'll talk until he falls over to stop LGBTQ civil rights bill from passing. Hey, Lindsay, if you want to, kill yourself in preventing the Equality Act, be my fucking guest. I won't mourn your fucking, death. Nope, not at fucking all. Anyways, let's hear what the wanker has to say. Oh, there's a video here.
A new piece in the New York Daily News chastising Republicans for expressing, well, skepticism or saying outright that they don't want the COVID vaccine. They don't want the shot. Look, I'm going to get the shot. I've said it publicly, which I don't have to do, but I want to just share with my audience as much
What's this
as I
got to do
feel
with
like.
anything?
But when it's my turn in line and I get the call, I talk to my doctor. I choose to share this, and that's with their doctors, not to get our families in consultation with our doctor. Make you be free to make your own decision. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, you choose. Why are we even asking senators this question? Senator, can you hear me?
I lost you there, Sean, I think.
You lost me.
Yeah, I hear you. Can you...
worst words in the English language.
I got
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? No, okay.
I hear you now. Okay, all right.
Senators shouldn't have to disclose. One way, they should be able to say, that's a decision between me and my doctor. End of the questioning.
Yeah. Yeah, I consider my job a bit...
Right, so they're wanking on about... All right, so this was just...
You get the vaccination. I think it will help...
Well, let's find out where
it's... said pretty much what Manchin was suggesting. So, H.R. 1, ending the legislative filibuster, court packing, D.C., Puerto Rico statehood, the biggest power grab.
Anything big like this, you should be able to get a few votes from the elections and do away with redistricting from the states. Shouldn't that be they get 51 in the House to stop the most radical agenda in America?
Joe Biden last night said he wants to bring back, if you want a filibuster, you have to bringing it back, but then there would be an end to the filibuster. Then Mitch McConnell weighed in.
Right. So, yeah, this is a discussion about the filibuster. I guess he says it somewhere in it. But anyways... well, look, I mean, if he's going to try and filibuster and kill himself in the process, be my fucking guest. You know, one dead Republican. Oh, what a loss. So, the Republicans basically have been arguing that the Equality Act hurts women and then voted against women's rights bills. Right. I mean, here's the thing, right? But the Republicans, right? They're all anti-abortion, aren't they? Right? And yet they say that they don't. That the Equality Act hurts women. Well, basically, opposing women's right to do what they want with their bodies is kind of hurting women. Anyways, let's have a read of this. Whoops.
On the same day, Senate Republicans spent 3 hours arguing that the landmark LGBTQ civil rights bill, the Equality Act, would hurt women if passed. House Republicans voted against two major pieces of women's rights legislation, the Equal Rights Amendment, ERA, and the Violence...
It's doing that again. Okay, hold on. Doesn't like brackets, does it? Well, let's... Ooh, for fuck's sake.
Yesterday, the Republicans voted against the Violence Against Women's Act and the Equal Rights Amendment. On the same day, they said LGBTQ equality would destroy women's rights, and complained that women's rights were not being seen as important as LGBTQ rights. Related, GOP Congresswoman calls Equality Act supremacy of gays, lesbians and transvestites. The Senate Judiciary Committee held a hearing on the Equality Act yesterday, the bill that would add sexual orientation and gender identity to federal civil rights legislation, banning discrimination against LGBTQ people. And Republican lawmakers, as well as the witnesses they invited, said multiple times that while they believe discrimination against LGBTQ people is bad, they are very concerned that the Equality Act would discriminate against women. I am deeply concerned about this act's negative implications for all girls, Sen. Chuck Grassley, RIA, said at the hearing. GOP lawmakers repeatedly referred to transgender women as males and said that their presence in public restrooms, homeless shelters, and sports teams would put cisgender girls and women at risk of...
Oh, yet again, the all trans women are predator narrative. Oh, how lovely. Not. Okay, let's continue. Oops.
The bill applies a wrecking ball to female sports by insisting that any male who claims to be female for any amount of time in his senior year, perhaps when he's eyeing college scholarships, has a full legal entitlement to walk onto the first team and take on of those, said Republican witness and anti-trans advocate Abigail Shrier at the hearing. States have been allowing transgender girls to compete with their gender for years, and that has just not happened. Meanwhile, House Republicans didn't seem to get the memo that the GOP is now the party of women's liberation. Yesterday, the House voted to reauthorize the VAWA, a bill that increases the criminal justice response to intimate partner violence and violence against women and provides funding resources for victims. The reauthorization passed 244 to 172. All of the 172 Congress members who voted against it were Republicans, although 29 Republicans joined Democrats in supporting the bill. The main criticisms Republicans made of the reauthorization bill is that it includes violence against transgender women. Rep. Michelle Fishbach, RMN, specifically cited language in the bill that it protects victims of any gender, and that it restricts gun rights of people who have been convicted of stalking.
Well, essentially what they're saying here is, oh, well, violence of trans women is okay. Yeah, that's essentially what they're saying. Because trans women were included in this in the language in this bill. That's what they're objecting to. They are objecting that people can't be violent towards trans women. Hello, everybody. The Republicans are okay with violence towards trans people, trans women. Hello. But of course, Blair White will still, do the. I'm the good trans. I'm not really a woman. I agree. The people could be violent towards me. No, yeah, fuck's sake. I mean, this, fucking hell. This is blatant. This is repugnant. Fucking persecution of the first fucking degree. Fucking hell. They wouldn't support a fucking, they wouldn't support a bill, which would, penalise people, with heavier sentences, for violence against women, because, it would also mean that if they attacked a trans woman, they'd get, tougher sentences. This is the kind of shit we have to put up with day in, day out from fucking Republican politicians and conservative politicians generally worldwide. Now, as I've been reporting, there's been a whole slew of fucking bills in state legislative bodies basically banning trans people from competing in sports, namely, obviously, the trans kids competing in school sports. But Arkansas have gone. Well, if you could read it for yourself, Arkansas legislature passes a bill to allow EMTs and doctors refuse to treat LGBTQ people. Right. Well, you've suffered multiple gunshot wounds from, some mass shooting, but because are you LGBT? Oh, okay, you're LGBT. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna. I don't have to treat you. You can fucking lie there and die. That's basically me summing it up for you.
a proposed legislation that is being called one of the most extreme and deadly anti-LGBTQ healthcare bills seen in years, is heading to the governor's desk in Arkansas. SB 289, dubbed as the Medical Ethics and Diversity Act, seeks to give medical workers a right to refuse providing healthcare to someone because of the worker's religious, moral, or ethical beliefs. That could open the door for LGBTQ people to face denial from life-saving service from doctors, nurses, or EMTs.
I think that, for me, the sickening joke is that they called it the medical diversity. What is diverse about excluding people from getting treatment? Fuck's sake. That's just...
The bill was previously rejected by the Arkansas House Public Health, Welfare and Labor Committee over criticism that it was too broad. Before it passed last month, it made it out of the committee. Then was returned with amendments, passed the committee again, passed the House, and has now finally passed the Senate along mostly partisan.
Oh, fuck's sake. Hello, mostly... Oh, it doesn't like... What the Oh, is it? Oh, no. Oh, shit. Is it? Hold on. I think it's... Oh, it's crashed. Oh, dear. Okay. Well, you get the general drift about this. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean... You know, the GOP just seemed to be hell-bent. I mean, you know, me and Osmo were talking yesterday that they think that they can rebuild for Trump to run in 2024 by being transphobic. Well, you know, they're not just being transphobic, are they? They're being homophobic. They're just being fucking bigots. And to be honest, right, I mean, if the Republican Party are the party of business, right, then, you know, fucking discriminating against a whole section of society, which otherwise could pay their taxes and fucking buy shit, you know, that's not fucking pro-business, is it? You know? I mean... I don't want to draw comparisons with the Nazis, but one thing I'd always say is that the Holocaust actually didn't make economic sense. It really didn't. Basically, the Germany actually had a labour shortage. It couldn't make enough armaments for the war, and you know, killing 6 million Jews. Well. You know, that wasn't going to help, was it? Obviously, you know, if the Nazis hadn't, they would have used that, you know, those Jews as slave labour. We know that. But the point I'm trying to make here is that, you know, I mean, one reason I think that particularly the business community has become a lot more LGBTQ inclusive in this country and in some degree in the United States is to do with something called the pink pound or the pink dollar, which is essentially gay couples have a lot more money to spend than your normal you know, heteronormative couple because you know, many aren't going to have kids, so they're you know, seen as shall we say, useful consumers. Now, obviously, I don't think everything should boil down to fucking you know, profit. Okay, I'm not a fucking Ferengi. I'm not a fucking anarcho-capitalist. But you know, if in any ways we can, you know, win people over so that they're not you know, wanting to persecute the LGBTQ community, then I don't think that that's a bad thing. I will take anything, seriously. You know, I mean, it just seems to me that the Republicans are just so ideologically wedged to hating on LGBTQ people. You know, they're not going to listen to fucking reason or sense. And that's what scares me, because as I've said, there was no economic sense for the Holocaust. There's no economic sense for the Republicans to hate on the LGBTQ community, and particularly the trans community. And this bill, it would have consequences. I'm going to. There's a story here from about the latest death of a trans woman, who basically was run over by a motorist when she was fleeing from attackers. So let's get into this. Oh, come on, where's the... Sorry about that.
A transgender Latinx woman died when struck by a car after being harassed last week in Los Angeles, and friends, family, and activists say her death should be investigated as a murder and a hate crime. Rayana Pardo, 26, was killed on the city's east side Wednesday night, LA TV station KCBS reports. Security video shows her being followed by a group of people down Eastern Avenue, and her family wants police to determine if she ran into the street to get away from her harassers or even may have been pushed. She often faced such mistreatment, family members said. The motorist has been charged with driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. The Trans-Latinate Coalition, along with Pardo's friends and relatives, held a candlelight vigil Saturday to honor her life and memory. Rayana was such a beautiful young person.
Now, let's just say that you're a trans woman in Little Rock, Arkansas, right? And you're fleeing, people are trying to attack you, and you get hit by, a car, you're surviving, and they are, bleeding to death in the fucking middle of the road. Some paramedics arrive, and they found out you're trans. Oh no, we don't have to treat you because you're trans. Yeah. You see, that's what that bill in Arkansas is proposing. Right? That's the extent of hatred which the GOP have for trans people. It's absolutely repugnant and disgusting, and, I'm just tearing my hair out at it. It really is seriously upsetting. So, talking about upsetting shit, to do with Nazis. Well, the neo-Nazi who headline first from the Independent. Neo-Nazi who posed in MAGA hat convicted of terror offences. Oh, yet another, Trump supporter is convicted of terrorist offences, or is on trial for terrorist offences. Funny that. The only thing is, this is in the UK. Yeah, a neo-Nazi who posed for a photo while wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat has been convicted of terror offences. Nicholas Brock, 53, was found guilty of 3 counts. I mean, this guy really does sound like your typical fucking gammon. He really does. Was found guilty of 3 counts of possessing documents useful to a terrorist on Tuesday. Is that a charge? Documents useful to a terrorist. So can we charge someone? So someone actually, said, I committed terrorism because I owned a copy of the Bible. Could that be classed as a useful document for a terrorist? I mean, the Bible has inspired, and other religious books have inspired so many people to commit fucking terrorist attacks over the fucking decades and centuries, Yeah. He denied the charge and said, he was a military collector who had an interest in weapons and ammunition, stemming from his love of action man figures as a child, or stemming from the fact that he was born a psychopath. But a jury convicted him for possessing the Anarchist Cookbook version 2000. I got that version. Well, I used to. I don't think I've got it now. Which contains. I mean, look, you could buy. I'm sure you could buy the Anarchist Cookbook on Amazon. Let's just have a look, shall we? Let's go and have a look. Let's see if we can buy the Anarchist Cookbook on Amazon. Yep, there you are. You can get it. So basically, if you buy that, that's a useful document. You'll be charged with a useful document for terrorist activities. Well, hold on a moment. So basically, then hold on. If this is a useful document for terrorists, why isn't it banned? I just have to ask that. I mean, I'm not. Obviously, this guy's a total, racist wanker. That's obvious. But obviously, the Anarchist Cookbook has often been seen as, basically that you can. It does give you, guidance on how to make bombs and shit. And of course, Nigel Farage said, well, this guy, he owned a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook. That he must be Antifa. Seriously, there would be people like Nigel Farage and other fucking far-right people who would say that. Yeah? So, Kingston Crown Court, that's near me, fucking hell, heard that he had extreme right-wing mindset and possessed Nazi weapons, memorabilia and literature. He possessed a collection of Second World War knives and daggers. Yet again, I would say, so somebody, well, I mean, this is all together, and I'm not defending this guy, but obviously people might remember Lemmy from Motorhead. Well, he used to collect Nazi memorabilia. I mean, he certainly wasn't a Nazi. But obviously, it's what this guy does, which is the the important thing with all this bullshit. That's the Police also found a framed certificate of recognition from the Ku Klux Klan in the defendant's name under his bed. Well, okay, now yeah, he's a far right, Prosecutor Emma Gargita said seized electronic devices contained photos showing a man believed to be Brock in his bedroom while wearing a balaclava and holding a large firearm and posing in front of a swastika flag. Yeah, the guy's a Nazi. I'm glad that he has, he has been, apprehended and put on trial. It's kind of a combination of things, isn't it? It's not just that he owned a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook or he owned, some Nazi memorabilia. She told the court that there was also a photograph of the defendant wearing a Make America Great Again cap in front of the Confederate flag. Yeah, well, look, I mean, anybody who flies a Confederate flag's a fucking racist. The slogan, often abbreviated as MAGA, was used by Donald Trump during the successful 2016 US president. Yeah, we know that. The former president popularized... we know this. He was standing in front of a battle flag of the defeated Confederate states of America. Oh yeah, there's a great meme at the moment going around. With the Confederate flag and Donald Trump, and they both said lasted 4 years. Which has been appropriated by white supremacist groups. Yep. Police found literature, including a copy of Adolf Hitler's book Mein Kampf. Yet again, I have a copy of Mein Kampf. I actually remember because I had a load of loads of books when I used to have actual physical books before I went digital, and I've still got some physical books. Basically, I had a quarter of my old flat was taken up by my book collection. And I remember a friend came round one time and he saw these books on the Nazis and he said, "You're not," he said, "I thought you're Jewish." I went, "I am." He said, "Well, why is it you got all these books on the Nazis, including Mein Kampf?" And I went, know thy enemy. That's why. I do think that you do have to, research this stuff, and sometimes you do have to go to the source material. However, in the case of this guy, it's obvious from everything that he was, a far-right nutcase. Police found literature, including National Front flyers in an envelope addressed to Brock, and books about the KKK and neo-Nazi group Combat 18. A flag displaying an eagle and a swastika were on Brock's bedroom wall, and he had an SS wall plaque, a Nazi propaganda poster, and a Nazi badge on his bedside table. The court heard. Jurors were told that his laptop, hard drives, mobile phones contained insignia, flags, and other material associated with historical and contemporary far-right groups and videos of extreme violence. They included footage taken by the 2019 Christchurch mosque shooting, beheadings, and KKK cross burnings. Searches had been made on Brock's laptop for banned neo-Nazi terrorist group National Action. So yeah, if he's associated with National Action, they are a proscribed group. Yeah, that itself is an offence, as well as other extremist group and racist terms. And analysts conducted across all Mr. Brock's electronic devices, indeed a spin around his bedroom revealed that one of Mr. Brock's interests was everything Nazi. I don't like butchering people's names, Gargita said. But the interest goes beyond Second World War history and Nazi memorabilia. Mr. Brock is also, the prosecutions say, a sympathiser with the ideas of the far right. Well, by the sounds of it, yeah. Not just the Nazi Party, but also modern extreme right-wing groups which promote the use of violence to further racist aims in contemporary society. The presence on his hard drive of 3 documents likely to be used to planning or committing a terrorist act must be viewed in that context. Yeah, it does sound like this was, a righteous intervention, shall we say. Brock denied wrongdoing, telling police he was just a normal person who likes collecting stuff. Well, no, you're a far-right nut. He claimed that the files would already have been on his hard drive, which he bought second-hand from a car boot sale in 2015, but analysis of the drive showed that the items had not been downloaded until 2017. Brock told the police that the documents may be have been downloaded by 2 friends who sometimes came to play games at his home while he was out of the room making a cup of tea. And God, that's one of the most pathetic fucking excuses I think I've ever fucking heard. He refused to give contact details, and the police could find no record of one man's existence. He refused to give contact details, and police find no record of one man's existence. While the second person mentioned said he had never visited Mr. Brock's home and had been confined to a wheelchair for almost bedbound since 2014. Brock did tell the investigator he had no interest in far-right groups. He didn't go out much. I bet this guy's an incel. Miss Garnita said Mr. Brock had no legitimate reasons for possessing this sort of information, and alleged that the hard drive had been well organised as part of a deliberate and careful filing of material. These are not everyday items, collectible memorabilia, but publications which contained detailed advice on how to create explosive devices. The thing is, right, even if you don't buy a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook, there are plenty of places on the dark web, in fact, not just on the dark web, where you could probably find bomb recipes. Bombs on how to kill and maim, she told the jury. They may, of course, be used to someone planning any kind of violent attack, and they would certainly be used to someone planning a terrorist attack. Edward Butler, defending, told the jury, there's a bit in here, I don't know, I must have passed it, but basically the one thing that made me laugh was this guy lived with his mum. Why is it so many Nazis, right, are mummy's boys? They're mummy's boys. Mummy boys, yeah. Anyways, right. Gonna be talking about so I covered this last week, I think, that Donald Trump has been trying to get around his Twitter ban, has been issuing these press statements, and this is one about basically if it wasn't for him there wouldn't be the COVID-19 vaccine. You would have had to wait years, but because of Trump sweeping in and speeding up the process, America should thank him, basically. We know he's a narcissistic egotist. And no, it wasn't you, Trump. It was fucking medical scientists who actually developed the fucking COVID vaccine. Now, here's the thing. I always knew this, right? So, Trump likes to take credit for the COVID-19 vaccine, but most of his supporters don't want to take it. Yeah. And there was this segment from CNN report, which is kind of explains stuff.
Vaccine, according to NPR and PBS NewsHour Marist poll, 47% who support the former president say they will not try to get the vaccine. One of those pockets of the country where that is playing out.
But this is you got this vaccine thanks to God Emperor Trump. You all fucking worship it. You all want to suck his fucking cock. He's developed this vaccine for you. You need to and to take it is to thank him.
Is in red state of Oklahoma. Here's what some residents in one town told our Gary Tuckman about the vaccine.
It's breakfast time in Boise City, Oklahoma. And I have this question.
Does anybody in this restaurant think it's a good idea to take the vaccine? No. Raise your hand if you think it's a good idea. Anyone here, is it a good idea to take the vaccine? Raise your hand if you think it's a good idea. Not one person here thinks it's a good idea? Complete quiet.
Boise City is the county seat of sparsely populated Cimarron County, Oklahoma, where 92% of the voters chose Donald Trump on Election Day, the highest percentage in a state where all 77 counties went for Trump.
What do you think about the vaccine? Are you going to take the vaccine?
No, sir.
Tell me why.
Well, I don't trust the government and I don't trust Biden.
Right, now, that's a very important statement there. And let me explain why. Do you remember, people need to remember this. The the banking crisis in 2008 happened on George W. Bush's watch, okay? But Obama took the blame. Now, so, Trump is saying that, wanted to take credit for, speeding up, the development of this fucking vaccine and getting it to market. You got a bunch of Trump supporters saying, no, they won't take it because of Biden. Well, the development of the vaccine had fuck all to do with Biden because he wasn't in the White House at the fucking time.
Chad and Misty Hughes are husband and wife. Neither of them plan to get the vaccine.
Just don't want to.
Why don't you want to? If you don't mind me asking.
Because when I take the flu shot, I usually get the flu, so...
Actually, that guy's got a point about the flu shot. I have had my vaccine. Okay, I've had my COVID-19 vaccine, and but I don't take the flu shot because, funny enough, usually about 10 days after I get the flu vaccine when I was a kid, I always got a stinking cold, and so when I turned 16 and I got the right to say no, I said no, and I haven't had the flu vaccine ever since.
There's no reason to take it.
Are you saying you think you'll get COVID by taking the COVID vaccine?
Probably.
Why are you thinking that? The research doesn't show that at all. It shows that it keeps people safe.
That's just my choice.
These women are sisters, and they too are doubters.
Why are you doubtful?
They just started rolling them out.
Well, yeah, but this has been a worldwide effort by great doctors.
Claim that the flu can be cured, but still hundreds of thousands of people die from the flu.
Well, yes, a lot of people die from the flu, but not nearly as much as COVID. This is a horrible pandemic, and this is like an amazing vaccine. These vaccines have come out; they're saving lives. I believe it.
No, I will just agree to disagree on this subject, I guess.
The vaccine's got the mark of the beast in it. It's got one of those Bill Gates microchips in it. No. That's what she really wants to say, isn't it? Yeah. And the thing is, despite the flu vaccine, millions of people still die of the flu. Well, here's the thing. Far more people would die of the flu if it wasn't for the flu vaccine. That's the point. The flu, no vaccine's fucking foolproof.
I'm just not going to take it.
What if President Trump came out and was very robust and said, take the vaccine? I took it even though I didn't tell anybody about it. It was kind of done secretly.
Yeah, you should take it. You should thank your God Emperor Trump. Yeah? He's the one responsible, remember?
But I think you should take it. He said it a little bit, but he hasn't been robust about it. If he was robust and said, take it, would you?
No.
Trump's a liberal New Yorker. Why would we listen to him?
Fucking rednecks, Trump's not right wing enough for me, man. Yeah, he didn't wipe out all the gays. Yeah, there's still people in this country who aren't white. Yeah, what a bunch of ungrateful MAGA fucking, cult supporters, huh? They really need to bow down and get the vaccine. Yeah, well, take the vaccine, which is a means of bowing down and thanking God Emperor Trump, and also help prevent the fucking, spread of fucking COVID-19. Yeah, how about being helpful fucking citizens for once? Because voting for Donald Trump definitely didn't fucking help. Anyways. Talking of vaccines, of course, today is general election day in Israel. I know some people are going to go, oh, fucking hell, how fucking stereotypical, you know. Soph's a Jew, so she's going to bollock on about the Israeli elections. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? They are of interest, obviously. You know, the Israeli Palestine conflict is basically responsible for an awful lot of shit in the Middle East, which, you know, ripples outwards and affects the world. So, yeah, it is of importance, not just because I happen to be a Jew. So, Haaretz reckoned that Netanyahu will get a vaccine bounce, which may get him re-elected, despite the fact that he's failed to manage the pandemic. This is very similar actually to the UK, isn't it? Because I mean, Keir Starmer's already been getting his excuses into why Labour are going to fail miserably at the local elections in May by saying, "Oh, the Tories are getting a vaccine bounce." You know, despite the fact that we all know that the Tories have been corrupt as fuck when it comes to managing COVID-19. And believe me, Netanyahu is as corrupt as they come. Essentially, he's facing a corruption trial. He did attend the first day of which, well, he attended 20 minutes and then just got up and left. Seriously, there wasn't a break for recess or anything. He just got up and left. And you know, it's thought that if he can cobble a coalition together, that one of his first priorities will be to introduce a law which would give him, and I would imagine it would have to be future prime ministers, immunity from prosecution. To basically nobble this corruption trial. I mean, he's due back in court, I think, April the 5th. Also he will want to remove the Attorney General. I mean, it's kind of like, it is a farce when you're the Attorney General of your own government has brought fucking corruption charges against you. The thing is, it's the more likely outcome of the Israeli general election is going to be yet more stalemate. Essentially, and I would imagine there will be another general election in 6 months. I mean, there have already been 4 in the last 2 years. Now some people, I know what some people are going to say. Well, this is because Israel has proportional representation. No, it's because people just haven't got it. Israeli citizens haven't got it through their head that Netanyahu and the Likud do not serve their best interests. I mean, the big scare is that the left could be completely wiped out in this general election. That basically they will only have like a handful of seats. I mean, they already haven't got many seats in the Knesset, but they will have less than a handful of seats. The turnout has been really low. Well, that's not surprising because of the COVID-19 outbreak, and also to do with Netanyahu claiming that he's getting he might get a bounce when it comes to the rollout of the vaccines. Has he rolled out the vaccines to the Palestinians? Oh no, wait, no. Yeah, people forget that one, don't they? I don't know. It seems to be one giant fuck up. The thing is, when you have like very weak government, right, like seems to be happening in Israel, there are going to be people starting to put, basically start floating the idea of a strongman government. In other words, something which is fascistic. And, Netanyahu would be all for that. You know, and that's what's scary. I mean, you know, obviously I want Israel to continue as a liberal democracy, but you can't help thinking that, you know, you've seen it in the past where, you know, governments after governments collapse and there's elections after elections, and eventually people just want, you know, they want order. You know, and there are demigods who basically fill the void, demigod strongmen who filled that void, and that's kind of scary. So there is a live blog I've been following. So let's see. Yeah, so Netanyahu's been out canvassing today, campaigning. Sorry. Yeah, obviously in this country we don't tend to get politicians actually campaigning on the day. The other thing is, because there's a low turnout, that's not going to be good for any of the Arab parties which have representation in the Knesset as well as the left. It's not good. And as I said, I think in 6 months there'll be another election. I don't think this is going to solve it. If Netanyahu does manage to cobble a majority together, it's also not going to be good for LGBTQ people, because he's going to have to rely on the support of conservative religious parties who sort of represent conservative religious views, and of course they don't like LGBTQ people. And Netanyahu has tried to use LGBTQ rights in the past as a means of pinkwashing, and saying, "Oh, look, we're progressive. We support LGBTQ rights." Well, you know, seems that, you know, your partner, you know, those are people you're prepared to get into bed with to keep you in power aren't, and you know, let's see, you know, if you are still willing to stick up for LGBTQ rights, you know, to stay in power, because me thinks you don't, because you're a corrupt fucking warmongering fucker. You'll just throw anyone under the bed. Anyways, well, obviously I'll be reporting on the results tomorrow, and we'll see how right I am. Anyways, this brings to an end another edition of Botha Rants. Thank you for joining me. If you like this video, then give it a like. Please share it with your friends and help spread the word. If you want to give any feedback, then leave a comment down below. And most important of all, please subscribe. Thank you to everybody, all the new subscribers there have been. You know, it does mean a lot. All right. In the meantime, until most likely tomorrow, look, take care of yourselves. Stay safe and peace out.